Friends, ladies and gentlemen, and for those of you joining us online, at this time we are going to begin the funeral services for Francis Lubelchek. For those of you in the sanctuary, if you have a cell phone or a pager, I would ask for you to please take a moment to turn it off or place it in the silent mode. And officiating today's services will be Cantor Jennifer Frost.
Shamayim va'aretz Ezri meim Adonai Oseh shamayim va'aretz. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and your coming, now and forever. We are an ancient people, and we are well acquainted with the grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow, they are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and that there is strength in faith. And so we say now, with Job, Adonai Natan, God, you have given. You gave us Fran, who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in her life, we offer you the deepest thanks of our heart. Adonai Lakach, and God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge you, sovereignty, and love, as we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. Blessed be the name of God, now and forever. The 23rd Psalm. Adonai roi lo echsar binot dasher bitzeini alamei menuchot yenaleini nafshi yeshovev yancheini b'magelei tzadak yancheini b'magelei tzadak leman shemo Gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivetecha umishanetecha heima yanachamu Ta'aroch lefanai Shulchan neged tzorai Dishanta v'Hashem en roshi Kosi revaya Ach tov v'chesed yirדפוני kol yemei chayai kol yemei chayai v'shaveti b'veit Adonai le'orech Yamim Adonai roi lo achsar Adonai roi lo achsar The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There is a beautiful passage from Proverbs entitled Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. And as we spent time together yesterday talking about Fran's life, sharing memories, this proverb seemed to embody who Fran was. And the proverb says, "A woman of valor, who can find? She is more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm, all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends hands to the poor. She is clothed in strength and in dignity, and she faces her future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband sings her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all." Fran was born in 1940 in Chicago to Bernice and Jerome. She was the youngest of 3 children. Her brother Buddy, was 12 years her senior, and her sister Marilyn, 6 years older. And despite their age difference, Bud, Marilyn, and Fran were unbelievably close. Their childhood was not an easy one, as with so many of their generation. Their dad was a salesman. Financially, it was not easy. Therefore, Bernice had to work. And watching her mom work, this made an incredible impact on Fran. She knew at an early age it was important for her to have her own career. In fact, it was imperative for her to do that. And you all said to me yesterday she was a pioneer in her generation. She was the first to become bat mitzvah at her synagogue in Logan Square. They shopped around for a while. They finally settled on this Reform shul in Logan Square, probably because they were willing to let Fran become a bat mitzvah, and so she was the first. She took Hebrew in high school, and as you said, she lived the American dream, graduating from Von Steuben High School, attending Northwestern while living at home, getting an education degree, and eventually going back to school and getting her master's in special education. And when her father died, she was just 19 years old. Her relationship with her mother deepened, and her brother, Bud, would become a significant confidant and role model for her. And later on in life, when Bernice was older and would become ill, Fran moved her in to live with her and live with all of you. And Amy, in fact, she was in your bedroom, you told me, for about 5 or 6 years. Bud would come over for family dinners, and it would serve as a cohesiveness, a glue for the family. And you all had such beautiful memories of those moments in time. As the proverb says, she reaches out to those in need and always extends a hand. Fran would go on to become a well-respected teacher, especially in the field of education and special education. She went on with a colleague and developed a board game, you told me, that would help kids learn to read. She also developed an educational testing company, and later in life, she would even start a newspaper. She was not one to rest on her laurels, and as you said to me, you could always find her on the phone late at night talking to someone, helping them with their problems, and then again up early to rise to get all of you ready and out the door. She was social. She was in several clubs. She was an amazing friend. She made friends easily and kept them for life. She had friends from every stage. She was like the hub, as you described it. She was the connector, a listener, a problem solver, and yes, she burned the candle at both ends. And she loved to be active. Golf, playing tennis, skiing. And it was on one of her many ski trips, you told me, I think you said it was a Jewish ski trip, she met your father. Harvey was smitten with her. The story goes they were on a bus, they were going skiing, either coming to the ski mountain or coming home from the ski mountain, and they stopped at a burger joint. And Fran wasn't afraid to order a burger, to eat it. And Harvey was just amazed by this. She enjoyed every bite. He loved watching her. She was true, as you said, to who she was. And this was just one of the many things that your father loved about your mother. And as you, Jerry, and Ronnie, and Amy told me yesterday, they just complimented each other. When your father could seem a bit shy, your mother was anything but. And so they hosted parties together, they socialized, they traveled, they went to the theater, they hosted book clubs, movie clubs, played bridge, and of course they shared a great love for pets, especially dogs. And there was some sort of a party, the bad party, we're not going to talk about that so much, but you should ask them about the pet rat. That's all I'm going to say. And of course, while your mom would work at a frenetic pace, your dad grounded her. He was patient and kind. She was his sounding board, and he was her sounding board. They were true partners and so in love with each other. And when your father died, it had a profound and, as you described it, life-shattering effect on her. She was, and they were so intertwined with one another. And for your father, as the proverb says, she was more precious than fine pearls. And he trusted her, and so he lacked nothing. And she did him good all the days of her life. And her children, they rise up to bless her. You rise up and you bless her. And just as she was an extraordinary wife, she was an exemplary mother. She was, as you put it, Jerry, your protector. She helped you accomplish things, all of you, whether it was finishing a reading assignment, sitting at the table late at night, reading you the book, or making edits in a paper for school, or helping you fulfill your dreams. Ronnie, as you said, she was active in every aspect of your lives and in the lives of your children. From bedtime rituals to grad night party, to the road trips, to the singing in the car, to the planned details for said road trip, and the not-so-planned moments, like driving around to find a hotel in the middle of the night or winding up in a field somewhere. It was all an adventure. And Amy, she had gone back to work full-time when you were little, and yet you all wanted for nothing. You told me she would fight for you at every turn, supporting your paths. And when she didn't necessarily think that the path was the right path for you, she would steer you or help you maybe make different choices. She always had your best interests at heart. She wanted you to be secure. She wanted you to be stable. She wanted you to be successful. She wanted you to be loved. It didn't mean that you didn't butt heads. But when push came to shove, she would do anything for you. She was persistent, as you described it, and persuasive, as you described her. And Adina and Natasha and Alex, you spoke of her loving and welcoming embrace. She treated you like her own children. And of course, she could play a mean game of Scrabble. It's debatable on who won, I guess, but you can talk about that later. And of course, she just loved you. She loved all of you. And she adored her grandchildren. Harvey, Bella, Jacob, Max, Simon, Oliver. What a tribe. What a beautiful, beautiful tribe. You remember sleepovers, cultivating a love of theater for you, Bella, helping you come into your own in that way. Walks with the dogs, endless love of dogs. You remember Max said she would pick you up early in the morning, very early in the morning at mom's school, and then she'd take you home, they'd take you home, make you pancake breakfast, play Name That Tune in the car, and Harvey, of course, you remember this very special stuffed animal that stays with you all the time. She speaks with wisdom. It was so apparent from our conversation yesterday just how prevalent love is in your family. It was palpable. And you all spoke of Fran's tremendous character. Your mother was filled with integrity and was a moral and ethical compass. You told me that you would not be the people that you are today without her steering you in the right direction. She was the voice of reason and the problem solver, not only for you, but for your extended family and for her friends. And Shelley and Julie, I know that you are watching with us today. And Shelley, you shared with me yesterday and with all of us as a sister-in-law, she was wise and wonderful. She was always there and easy to talk to. You appreciated her, and she was full of love and goodness. And Julie, you shared with us that she was like a second mom. She wrote you a poem on the day that you were born. She loved to write poetry, and she loved to write poetry for significant life cycle moments in the family. You loved your special dates with Aunt Fran. She was insightful and a confidant, so much fun, there for you through thick and thin. But most of all, you described her so beautifully as she was relentlessly loving. Relentlessly loving. And she was your idol. What an incredible legacy. What an incredible bar to live up to. And she leaves behind a legacy in all of you, a legacy of which to be so proud. A legacy filled with strength and fierce love, integrity, courage, and perseverance. Do the right thing, she would tell you. Be guided by your ethics and your morals. Your Judaism is important. Do your part to repair the world, tikkun olam. But most important is the love of family. Love each other. Show up for each other. Be present with each other. And pass down these gifts lador vador from generation to generation. Her legacy and the gifts that she shared with you, they live on in the way in which you live your life and the traits that your children embody. And as you shared with me yesterday, you know that there were bumps along the way. But as you look back on your life growing up as Fran and Harvey's children, you know that you lived, as you put it, a charmed existence. And you were so fortunate to have had her as your mom. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you, dear Fran, you excel them all. May her memory be for a blessing. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, you will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, you will remember her. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, you will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, you will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, you will remember her. And when you are weary and in need of strength, you will remember her. When you are lost and sick at heart, you will remember her. When you have joys you yearn to share, you will remember her. So long as you live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. We take a moment for silent reflection. I ask you all now to please rise for the memorial prayer. El malei rachamim shochena b'maromim hamsei menucha nechona tachat kanfei hashchina im kedushim utehorim kezohar horakim mazirim et nishmat fegabat rom vernis shalachal leolama mal rachamim yasdirei beseiter knafav leolamim vitzro hachayim et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Frances, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the eternal presence and in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And we say together, Amen.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our services here in the sanctuary. The interment service will continue at Shalom Memorial Park, and for those of you joining us online, the stream will conclude here shortly, and we will re-engage another stream when we arrive at the cemetery, and we're ready to proceed with the interment there. The family has requested that any memorial contributions in her memory to either the Fisher Center for Alzheimer's Research Foundation or to Waukegan to College. That information is available in the service folder that you should have received as you came into the sanctuary. Again, that information is also available on our website at chicagojewishfunerals.com. The family will be joining together this evening and Tuesday evening from 6 until 9 p.m. for a Zoom Shiva. And again, the links and all of the ways to be accessible are on our website as well. The following individuals have been asked to serve as pallbearers: Jacob Lubelchek, Simon Kudlov, Max Kudlov, Doug Lubelchek, Al Brodsky, and Bernard Lubelchek. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise and stand in place, for the pallbearers to please come forward as we escort the family and the cantor and the casket from the sanctuary.
give like the live stream for
Yep,
this
it's
service
going
has
right
been
now.
started.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great. Thank you.
There's some people on there as of now.
For the front, everybody else can kind of gather around.
Okay, good. Shiviti Adonai Lanegedi Tamid Kimimini Balemot Lachein Samach Libi Me'agel Kevodi Afasari Yishkon Lapetach Ki lo tazov nafshi lishol lo titena chasidcha lirot shachat todieni orach chaim orach chaim Sovas machot et panecha nimod bimincha netzach Shiviti Adonai lenegedi tamid Kimimini I've set the eternal always before me. God is at my side, I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exalt and my soul rejoice, for my being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones seek destruction. You show me the path of life, your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. In just a moment, I am going to invite the family to come forward and place some earth in the grave from Israel. Some Jews desire to be buried in Israel. Some know that their connection is wholly here, but to be able to have a bit of Israel placed in the grave with our loved ones brings that connection forward. So in a moment, I'm going to ask the immediate family to step forward, and I'm going to place some earth in your hands and ask you to take a private moment at the casket and at the grave. And as you place the earth in the grave, some of it will land and some of it will fly away. We know in our relationships that our relationships are human. that we are not perfect, that we make mistakes, and we have the ability to be able to forgive. We have the ability to be able to say, I'm sorry. So I want you to imagine that you are having a conversation with Fran. And you were able to say to her, I'm sorry. She's able to say, it's okay. Never mind. And I want you to imagine her saying to you, I'm sorry. And you being able to say, never mind. Because as we said all along, the only thing that's left in this moment in time is love. So I ask now her children and her immediate family to come forward. Come over here. Stand on the green part of the board and press the yes. The dust returns to the earth as it was, the spirit returns to God who gave it. It is only the house of the spirit which we now lay within the earth. The spirit itself cannot die. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our departed Fran. Grant her that everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come. Though no human eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor mind has grasped, it is still our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. O God, help us to understand that grief and love go hand in hand, and that the pain of loss inflicts, which is the measure of a love stronger than death. Though we cry in the anguish of our hearts, we may be like children who know that their parent is near and who cling unafraid to the trusting hand. In this spirit, O God, do we commit all that is precious to us into your keeping. We have one more thing to do here at the grave, and that is to place 3 measures full of earth into the grave. 3 measures full, because we do not approach this as something that is easy, but that we do so with steadfast love, that we come to it knowing that we do so with intention. So in a moment, I'm going to ask the family to come forward first and place those 3 measures full of earth in the grave. But before we do that, we are going to recite Kaddish. And we do so with intention as well. And so we say together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulalmei almaya. Yit barach v'yish tabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh. V'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shemei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. Go your way, for God has called you. Go your way, and may God be with you. May your righteousness go before you, and the glory of God receive you. I invite the immediate family to come forward first. Notice 2 sides of the grave have earth. We invite the rest of you who would like to participate in burial to come forward.
aisle down here as well if someone would like to come down to this end.
עושה שלום במרמה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. This concludes our service here at the cemetery, and we invite you all to join on Zoom Shiva later on this evening, beginning at 6, and you can find that link on the Chicago Jewish Funerals website.
Thank you, Cantor. Again, at this point, the service is concluded. In just a moment, the cemetery staff will complete the task of filling the grave. If you wish to stay to witness that, you certainly may do so. If not, you may return to your cars. Thank you.